Welcome to the Wonder With Me podcast, where I, Dr. Tonia Winchester, invite you to get curious with me about all things mind-body healing, especially how we can unlock the incredible healing power of our unconscious minds, so that we can all get out of stress mode and go back into healing mode. We'll talk about how you can easily create healthy, sustainable self-care habits so that you can calm your mind, sleep deeply, wake rested, and enjoy happy, energized days. Ultimately, so that you can make a bigger difference in your well-being and that of your family and the world around you. These casual chats are for educational purposes only and don't constitute a therapeutic relationship. With all that said, let's get this episode underway. Come wonder with me. Hello, and welcome back to another episode of the Wonder With Me podcast. I am your hostess, doctor, and our coach, Tonia Winchester, and this is the place where we turn little life moments into big life lessons. This is episode number 53. The one thing you must do before you can ever consider achieving work-life balance. And this is another retro-sode, which means I, in real time, without pre-reading it, record a reading of old blog posts. Why? Posterity. Let's look how far we've come. B, what was I curious about then? Am I still curious about the same things? Do my questions still hold up? Are there other questions that we need to be asking or would be more helpful or productive? And also entertainment. I find it so entertaining. Like this title, The One Thing You Must Do Before You Can Ever Consider Achieving Work-Life Balance. So filled with drama. I can't even. So, with all of that being said, let's get into it. Let's get wondering. Okay, so this dramatically titled blog post was published in 2013 when I first started my blog. So let's read it and see how it goes. Again, I am reading this blindly without pre-reading for more real life entertainment. The case of the sticky note that was too small. One morning, I opened the container of my fave brand of protein powder so I could make my post-workout antioxidant-rich smoothie, and bleh, something smelled off, like plastic, like toxic plastic. And worse, it tasted like it smelled. Double bleh. I didn't really think too much of it, figuring that people have off days and maybe smoothies did too. I'm so sorry. I just have to pause. Like, what? Okay. I just did my sonic boom laugh. I had to edit it out because it went red on my recording device on my editing software. So you don't get to hear my sonic boom laugh, but it did exist. Me laughing, current Tonia laughing at past Tonia. Yeah, maybe smoothies do have off days too. Back to the post. It happened again the next day. Bleh. Off. Toxic plastic. I had never had a problem with this brand before and decided to go back to the store where I'd purchased it. I first went to the section where the natural health products were shelved. Only a pharmacist was there and she couldn't help me. I went next to the customer service desk. There was a nice lady there to whom I explained the situation and asked to exchange the tub. She said that the manager of that section had left at 6 p.m. It was 6:12 p.m. but would be back tomorrow and that she, in brackets, the manager, would be authorized to make the exchange. The customer service representative took out a pen and a square sticky note and started collecting my information. She wrote down the problem and how I was hoping to swap the tub out for a different one. Her writing became increasingly cramped and illegible as she took my contact info. I always start writing too big and never give myself enough room to finish properly. She promised she would rewrite the note and that the manager would call me the next day. It's been 2 years, which actually means it's been like 15 years or something. And I continue writing, I'm pretty sure I'm not getting that tub exchanged. This did fuel the question, why don't we leave ourselves room? Okay, then I leave a big space in the blog post, and then in brackets I say, see what I did there? Very clever. Okay, back to the post. We often get ideas which we either keep private or share. Those ideas may not fall into line with others' ideas, and somehow they get squashed or limited, just as that lady's writing did as it neared the edge of the sticky note. The ideas get smaller and smaller until they are an indecipherable trace in our cognitive mesh. We constantly shape ourselves to fit the borders and boundaries imposed by others, parents, teachers, society, the law, religion. You get the drift. We behave in expected ways. We suppress our own needs and desires because the needs and desires of other people are clearly more important. Sarcasm aside, why do we do this? Now, I'm not saying go break the law and hurt people, since my mission is world peace. This is the opposite of what I'm trying to achieve. What I'm saying is give yourself the space, in brackets, and the time you need to be who you are. Hoping to make a change? The first step is to create the space for it. You want to learn a new language? Make space in your schedule to take a class. You want to lose weight? Make space in your fridge for vegetables. Making space often means things have to go. If that means saying no more, then so be it. Say yes to yourself more often. If that means grabbing an extra sticky note so you can say what you're trying to say in a clear way, do it. If that means dancing or screaming at the top of your lungs in a field of daisies, have at her. I just feel that the world would be a more loving and peaceful place if we all came from a place of self-love and acceptance. With 7 billion plus people on the earth, there isn't just one right way. There is enough space for everyone. There isn't one box in which everyone will fit, and that's okay. It's my humble opinion, it makes the world beautiful. Just make sure your box is big enough for you. You gotta make space for yourself. Make space and time to be who you are. It's actually the most selfless thing that you can do. Because from there only, you can look after others. Here's to your space, Dr. Tonia. P.S. Drop a comment with your insights. What do you want to make more space for in your life? What is one action step that you can take to wiggle in some space for it? And so I will leave those questions with you as curiosities for today, and let us think about this article. Very cute story. I appreciate the notion that I wrote this 2 years after that whole thing took place, and that I never got that protein powder exchanged. I don't even remember this, to be honest. I love how this ties so nicely into episode 50, in which I pose a very similar question. Why is it that we lie to ourselves? And episode number 50 was inspired by me finally listening to the lyrics in the song Escape, which we often know as the Pina Colada song. You can go back and listen to that one. But this ties in so nicely to that. We are often shaped by the culture and the family and the society in which we are born. And it's like we have these containers that surround us, and sometimes those containers help us stay safe, and sometimes those containers prevent us from individuating in the world, which means that we don't pave our own path. We don't identify for ourselves the things, the values, the truths, the beliefs that we want to embody and act on. But instead, we get shuffled along like a herd of sheep and are told how to do life, how to be in these scenarios, how to dress, how to act, what profession to be. This is interesting to me. It's interesting to me because when we embody these types of expectations or unspoken rules, or maybe overtly spoken rules, we negate ourselves. We say no to aspects of ourselves because we're saying yes to other people, other ideas. And I talk about this in this old article. We have to decide what it is that we want and say yes to it, which means we have to say no to something else. The idea of these types of containers, these types of rule structures that we're born into, which are not our fault, which are not a product of our own choosing. They're not a character flaw, a defect, or in any case, a weakness. And instead, they're these unspoken rules. And sometimes those rules are amazing and great and really helpful. And then sometimes, like I say, they block us from actually being our fully self-expressed individual human being. Yes, I just said human being. I just think it's cute. So these types of containers that we're born into, that, again, are not of our choosing, are a way of keeping us in a specific position, our expected position. And it's like every time we try to move out of those containers, the system itself has these kind of homeostatic checks and balances in place. So we make a move, it makes a counter move and puts us back in our place. This idea that I'm talking about is something that I work with when I do my shift sessions with my clients. And the shift sessions are very good at helping us unlock ourselves from stuck patterns so that we can actually start to take steps in our lives, take steps in our health, and really change our behaviors. That's very exciting for me. And unfortunately, it's not just as simple as getting a bigger sticky note or an extra sticky note. Sometimes we really have to take responsibility and grow and mature out of these scenarios. And working with these type of containment structures in this shift work has profound benefits. And I've talked about that in past episodes. Number 37 and number 47. Of course, I will link up in the show notes to those other episodes so you can hear some of these amazing, powerful things that are happening when we start to invite ourselves to grow up and grow out of these old containers, these old boxes that we got put in. And there's one other thing I'll tag on to this, which is in episode number 50, which addressed this same thing. Why do we lie to ourselves? And then in this article, I also asked that same question. Essentially, why do we do this? I want to correct that. I want to actually say that in a different way because I think the question why is helpful for one thing. It's helpful to get us to the root cause of why something might exist or the root causes. What the question why does not do is help us out of a problem, out into a solution. Okay, why do I eat a bag of potato chips every night? Not autobiographical, by the way. Why do I eat a bag of potato chips every night? Because I want to escape. Why do I want to escape? Because I have pain in my life. Why do I have pain in my life? Because I had some trauma happen when I was a kid. I'm expediting this thought process, by the way. Obviously, there's going to be more complexity and nuance to this. Ultimately, what this questioning is going to get us to is maybe an event or a series of events early in life where we decided that we needed to behave in a specific way or escape in a specific way, or whatever it was so that we could feel some semblance of content and peace inside. Even though anyone looking at the habit or that problematic behavior could say, well, that's actually destructive. It's not helpful. This is where we get to the more helpful question. Instead of why, we can ask for what purpose? For what purpose am I eating this bag of potato chips, to run with this analogy and this idea? For what purpose? To escape. For what purpose? For calm. Again, I'm expediting this thought process, this track. For what purpose gets us to something that is real and good and true, that generally, if we ask far and deep enough, we're going to get to a thing that is a core state of being that doesn't depend on anything or anyone else outside of us. It's just something that we can access inside. Examples could include peace, love, wholeness, okayness. These are core states. This comes out of work by Connie Ray Andreas. It's also work that I take my clients through. But this question, for what purpose, gives us the solution. Because if we know the deep purpose, so in this instance with the potato chips, my line of thought was, for what purpose to escape, for what purpose for calm, for what purpose for peace, implying that I don't have access to the peace without the potato chips. But we know that's faulty because at any given moment, anyone can step into peace should they choose. And so this is really about how can I have that deep core thing without this problematic behavior? And that is where I'm going to end today. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much for getting curious about yourself, your health, your life, your relationships. Thank you for putting up with me and these retrosodes, which I find so entertaining, and I hope you're getting something out of them. I will catch you in the next episode of the Wonder With Me podcast, and in the meantime, may you choose to make all of your dreams come true. Hey, thanks for wondering with me today. If you've got something good out of this, then please forward this episode along to the people who you know could benefit. Be sure to subscribe, and if you're really keen, you leaving us a rating and review helps us to help more people, so thank you in advance for that. If you're wanting more insights about how you can leverage the power of your unconscious mind to go back into healing mode, head on over to toniawinchester.com, where you'll find my book, Breakthrough the Insomnia Cycle, and other helpful ideas. Thanks again, and we'll connect on the next episode of the Wonder With Me podcast. In the meantime, may you choose to make all of your dreams come true.